May Code Enforcement Board meeting to order. If everybody can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you want to testify, please remain standing or stand back up again so you can be sworn in.
If you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Does anybody have any revisions to the minutes from last month's meeting? Or a motion to adopt?
Seconded.
No, I need a motion.
Well, I thought he said motion to adopt.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
And he already seconded it. So, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Staff, do we have any revisions to today's agenda?
Yes, I'll be removing case F, Martin Van Putten. He has remitted payment for a civil penalty and received all permits necessary.
That's it.
6542.
Yep. Okay, we'll start with 15-CE-6060.
Do we have a motion to adopt, please?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to adopt.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we'll move on to 15-CE-6060, Venetian Apartments, Craig Van Pyle.
This case is being recalled. It was continued based on the permit being applied for and the fire department needing additional information. The information has been provided from the engineer. He is good with the fire department, and the permit is moving through, so we could just allow it to complete the process.
Okay.
So if we would give it 30 days, and hopefully next month I'll tell you it's complied.
Sure.
I'll put that in the form of a motion that we give the Venetian Apartments 30 days to comply with the orders of the Code Enforcement Board.
Wonderful.
We're just continuing this to the next board meeting. It may not be quite 30 days, right?
Continuance
To the next meeting. Okay.
till the next board meeting.
Thank you.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 16-CE-2235, Laura McCluskey.
Excuse me, the case of Laura McCloskey. This is my case. It was heard last month on April the 13th. You issued an order for the correction by May 6th. We still haven't been able to make contact with Ms. McCloskey, and the property still has not been maintained. As we did last month, we're requesting that you find the violation still exists with an order to correct and to remit the citation payment within 30 days.
It's not the same thing we did last month?
Well, last month, we kind of put it off until this month.
Oh, okay.
To try to give us a little...
Well, there was an order to correct entered, but the board, I don't think, entered any civil penalties at the time.
Correct.
So are you wanting the civil penalties
Okay.
assessed now?
No, just the citation payment's all I'm asking for.
Okay, well, there's really already an order entered, so you really,
Okay.
I don't know that you really need to take any other action. So it's still not corrected, right?
Correct. There's been no change.
I would just,
Thanks for the update.
What is our recourse here?
it's whatever the officer prefers to do. I mean, you've already entered an order to correct.
That's our recourse. So far, I haven't been able to locate her. I'm still trying. I've posted the property again.
The only other recourse that wasn't done was to start civil continuing penalties. But it doesn't sound like the officer wants that.
Correct.
She's the one who we've made contact with her before, and she's
Correct. She's always corrected it
Yes.
without a problem. But
Is this when you're going to start the abatement process, maybe, or?
I will if it gets to that point. It's not there yet.
Okay.
Excuse me, have we sent her a letter via regular mail?
Yes.
We have.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Several.
you.
And we've
Several.
posted and we've sent certified.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll move on to 16-CE-6457, Maxwell Properties, and
This
James.
case was continued. An inspection was made on 5/3 of 2016 with Gail Lafferty from the Planning Department. Officer Ramsey and myself, we met with Mr. Maxwell and went through the property. He had made a huge effort to clean up and has continued that. The only things held up now is there's a auto sale and a U-Haul business that needs to have site plan approval for the location of their goods, and a change of use needs to be completed for the church and the U-Haul business that are also on site. Mr. Maxwell is out of town. Mr. Petruzzi works with him, and he's here if you have any questions. Talk.
Any questions?
What do you have a recommendation? Are things moving along, or are they at some sort of impasse now? Or
I believe we're moving along, but I'd like it recalled so that we continue to make progress. Change of use applications have been picked up and not returned. Mr. Maxwell was advised on 5/3 that those were required. So he also needs to work with his tenants and sign off on the applications so that they can obtain those.
So you want to just continue this to the next meeting, June 8th?
Whatever the board wants is fine with me.
I would like to continue it because it does take some time to get the permits.
Yeah.
And
I think to be fair to everybody, we should continue it also.
Sounds good.
does anybody have any questions of the gentleman?
No.
No, you're off the hook.
We need a motion, right?
Thank you.
I would make a
Wait.
motion to, I'm sorry.
Maybe we should ask that they submit change of use applications by the Friday prior to our next hearing.
Okay, yeah, submit an application is, especially
Yeah,
change of
there's no
use. That's
problem.
not too
make
tough.
application.
Susan, when he gets back out of town, he's going to sign the paperwork, what he needs to sign for those 2 applications, and they're all filled out, ready to go, waiting for him.
Great.
Okay, that's it?
All right, we'll hold you to that.
Okay.
So you need a motion to that effect? Okay, I will make a motion that we have a continuance with the proviso that the necessary paperwork be turned in at least 5 days before the next meeting. Is that by
The Friday prior.
the Friday prior to the next meeting?
Perfect.
That would be June 3rd.
June 3rd.
That'd be great.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Well, that's my motion.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
See ya.
16-CE-6407, Bank of America.
Bank of America is my case. This case was found to be in compliance as of 5/2. I'm requesting that you stop the continuing penalties as of 5/1 and find the case is in compliance. They have not remitted payment for civil penalties or citation to this point.
We have a guest.
Hello,
Could you
my name is
please?
Helena Kennedy, and I'm the listing agent for the property. And I'm here to see if, being that we took action so quickly once the property is found to be vacant, that you go easy on us on any fines.
Could you speak up a little louder, please, into the microphone?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Helena Kennedy. I'm the listing agent working with Bank of America on this property, and I'm here to see if you'd be willing to go easy on us on the fines for being so quick and efficient and getting the property in compliance.
Is that your perception as well?
Well, this is a repeat. We've had several cases there, but yes, since Helena has came on the scene, it has gotten a lot quicker. I'm not sure, to be honest, Wayne, you would have to answer this. If a realtor can act or on the behest of Bank of America requesting a reduction.
Well, this is an administrative board, and we don't have the strict rules that you have in court where a corporation has to have an attorney represent them. So I don't have any problem with her representing the owner.
Okay.
I have a question. What is the amount presently owed?
There's an estimated amount of
right here on your
$3,000.
The estimated total is
Estimated
$3,050.
$3,050.
Correct.
Okay. And you are looking for a little help in that regard.
I am. That would be nice. Thank you.
And the other question is, when did this process begin?
Well, in this particular property, it began several years ago with other cases. It just kind of falls in and falls out of compliance.
Well, this particular event when did that,
February 10th.
February 10th?
Beginning of February.
Correction was to be by March 2nd, per the citation. It was corrected May 2nd.
And may I add my timelines?
Certainly.
This property was actually assigned to me a year ago from Bank of America. It comes to me, as a foreclosure, so I start doing my investigative work and found at that time the property was tenant occupied. Shortly thereafter, Bank of America withdrew this listing from my inventory. And they don't really tell me exactly why, but I could see in MLS there was a pending short sale. So I'm thinking maybe the short sale is going through. So, of course, I stop all my activity because it's no longer my file. And then it came back to me this year on March 22nd. And then we determined the property to be vacant on March 26th. We got notice of the violations, or we spoke to Sherry Philo, you spoke with my assistant Veronica maybe, on March 30th. Notified Bank of America, who uses Safeguard, to correct the violations, and it was corrected by April 27th. And we notified the city by the May 2nd.
Question.
Yes.
You're not paying this fine, am I correct? The bank would pay this fine?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I wanted to get it on the record.
They may make me write the check and then reimburse me, but yes, it's not my personal expense.
Was the original citation paid?
No.
Okay.
There was no amount established yet.
Well, based on the facts that they didn't pay the original, I mean, this lady doesn't have to pay it out of her pocket. The bank will have to ultimately pay. Why should we cut them a break?
If you recall last hearing, they remitted a check for the same property, the same bank, for almost the same amount for a previous problem that they finally got around to correcting. So this should have been a repeat. It was not, because I did it wrong.
Okay.
So it came across as an original, but...
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
I'm relatively new at this. I'm only a few months, but it seems like we have an awful lot of bank-owned properties that come through here again and again and again, and the banks just keep coming in here asking for a break. Am I mistaken?
No, they don't usually come ask for a break.
This is the
They
third
usually
one.
just don't pay.
It is true that there are a lot of bank-owned properties, and they do run afoul of the codes quite often. They don't often ask for a break, but they do let things get out of hand. They don't get much attention for some reason.
Well, maybe they'll get our attention if we ask for the full amount.
I make a motion that it stay in place as is.
This particular property was the one with the pool, right?
No, this one did not have a pool.
Okay.
This one had overgrowth, but it also had appliances, a motorcycle, all the stuff out in the yard. Moped.
Well, like I said, maybe they'll get our attention if we ask for the full amount. Therefore, I'm going to put...
Remember, what you need to find is that its property's been corrected as of May 2nd,
Okay.
and the total amount of the civil penalties to be assessed, plus any costs. I don't know if we have a cost affidavit.
Well, according to the paperwork I have in front of me...
You don't need to give any numbers.
Okay.
Unless there's costs.
Would somebody provide some numbers so we have an idea, a breakdown of the numbers?
What I had put before you was that on March 3rd, there was a $50 a day civil penalty.
Right.
So there was 60 days if the board found the property in compliance as of May 2nd. So March 4th through May 1st is 60 days, and $50 a day is $3,000 plus the $50 initial civil penalty. That's if my addition is all correct. That's why I don't like to give you an exact amount. So $3,050 plus any cost.
Well, like I said, as an attention getter, and maybe we won't have to deal with this again, I find that they are ultimately in compliance, however, very late. Therefore, I make a motion that we collect the full $3,050 as an estimate at this time, subject to maybe, if legally possible, a correction at a later date.
Yeah, I second that motion.
Is that acceptable, or?
Well, Tom, there's no cost you're going to ask for?
No, I felt like the continuing penalties.
Sure, the prior order that was not recorded yet.
No, I held it because I knew it was going to be coming back.
The only other thing that would then be added would be any costs of recording should we have to record to create a lien and any release of a lien.
I will add to my motion that any cost of reporting be added on to the ultimate number. That's my motion.
I second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's it? Okay. Thank you.
All right. 16-CE-6412.
Once again, this is my case. This is a case. Sorry.
6412.
Thank you. All set. This case, the violator Matthew Martise was cited for demolition without a permit at 2020 Delmar Avenue. The permit has been obtained. Ask that the board find the initial penalty of $50.
All right. I'll make a motion that the board issue an order for payment of the $50 civil penalty.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
16-CE-6540, John Pickerill.
This is my case. Again, citation number 0951T, case number 16-CE6540. There has been no request for a hearing brought forward to this point. As per the citation, the citation is deemed to be waived and deemed an admission of the violation. I don't know if you want to hear it or not. No request has ever been made, nor has the citation been paid to date.
She would need to be sworn in because she came in after.
No, not yet.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm here before you today.
Could you start with your name, please?
I'm Christy Pickerel, Gervasio, hyphenated. I'm here before you today because we have a rental property that we had a tree that was on an oak tree. We continued to try to prune it and correct it, but the tree was dying. This is my first time. This is my father, John Pickerel. I've worked with him for 19 years now. He's a general contractor, and we own rental properties. This is the first time in that period that I've ever been before the city board. I have been for the county board for rental properties. So this is a little different to me. I brought some pictures and some information in the county. You can show it on the overhead projector. So I don't know if I can
do that.
Submit these photos to you.
I brought some photos as well, which Melody's passing out.
Okay. Thank you. There's usually an overhead thing right over there.
I'll get it on in just 1 minute.
So, I did not understand that we had to have a permit to remove the tree. We ended up removing it. The trunk is still there. It's about 12 feet tall, and I'm sure 17 feet tall still. And I'm sure that...
Doesn't that still count as a tree?
Tom.
I don't know if that's cut down or trimmed excessively or whatever. I'm a little confused on it.
Hold on a second. Got to only have one person at a time testifying.
Okay.
Let the clerk. Hang on. Let the clerk get back in her seat. She's just setting that up for you.
Okay. So, We did end up removing it. I did not know that we had to get a permit to remove the tree. As soon as we were notified of that, we went down and got the after-the-fact permit. My father and I both have been in contact with Tom and Sherry, and we just, I expressed at the very beginning that I did not want to pay the $250 fine because the tree was dead. And it was hazardous to my tenants. They had called us out on more than four occasions. I have a letter from my tenant. Every time that she called, we would go there, clean up the yard, and we tried to trim the dead trees as much as we could, but it just continued to die and for the branches to fall. They expressed their concerns for their kids and their vehicles. Also, it was just a hazard for my property as a property owner. I was unaware that I had to write in within so many days. I do all the office work and all the, this kind of stuff. I do it all. My father just is out in the field doing the work. Wherever I call him and tell him, hey, you got to be here, that's where he goes. I unfortunately had to go to the Mayo Clinic, and I was away for more than what I thought I was going to be, and, things that I take care of did get put behind. So that was something that me personally went through during this process. When we were notified of it, we did go down on March 29th. My father did go down on March 29th to get the after-the-fact permit, and we did pay the double fee for the permit. And we have planted a new oak tree that were the requirements. This is actually the second one. The first one we put in was not tall enough. And as I read into all of the ordinances that I've been trying to look through online, it's been a little difficult. Again, the city and the county are very different. I couldn't even find where I could look up to see where the violations were and when it started, and what was coming next. So I am a little bit out of the loop and didn't understand exactly what was required. And my feeling is that I've done what I need to do. I do understand that it was wrong. We were supposed to get the permit first. I didn't know that. As soon as we found out, we corrected it. I did go and speak with Tom. I wasn't even able to get the certified letter when it came out because I was in Jacksonville at the Mayo Clinic. I went down and saw Tom and got a copy of it when I got back. So at this time, I would like to show you pictures of the property. I have original pictures of when I purchased the property and how the property looked, and then I have after pictures of the new landscaping that we put in. And I also have pictures of the wood, the oak that was cut down, and pictures of the oak tree. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and show you that.
Sure.
As far as landscaping, I'm not entirely sure where that's relevant to this tree. Again, I don't argue anything she said. You saw all my notes that you guys have a copy of. You didn't get a copy of it, but I said everything that you said, basically. That on this date you did this, this date you did this. The only thing that I would add is you did come in to get a copy of the citation, as you said, on 4/12. And we haven't had a request for a hearing or to contest the citation or anything since that date. It's clearly marked on the citation, the dates and times. Had you wanted to be heard, I feel like you should have, at the very least, submitted something, even if it were late. But we haven't heard anything, for almost 30 days relative to your wanting to appear before this board.
Okay. With that, I did express my concern when I first talked to him about wanting to try to abate this fine. And when I called Tom and I asked him, and I notified him that I got the notice and that I was interested in coming in and talking to you guys and presenting my case, and he said that it may be past the date for me to be able to present it because I had not written in. And I asked him what that timeline was, and he said he didn't have the information in front of him and wasn't real sure. And then he let me know that it was my decision. If I wanted to come in, I could. You guys may or may not hear me. And in addition to that, if you declined this, I could also be charged extra fines, attorney fees, your fees, and I decided I wanted to take a chance on it. I feel strongly that, I did what was right for my property. We do have multiple properties in the city. We have maintained all of them, and this isn't something that we're just trying to let go. We're trying to take care of all of our properties and do what we can for them. He notified me also on that time when I called him and expressed that I wanted to come. He told me to contact the city clerk, and I did. And again, when I spoke to her, she asked me what my case number was and what the date was. I gave her that information, and she had to look up and let me know how many days out it was. So with them not even knowing that information right offhand, I don't know how
I have a couple of questions.
I didn't have your case file. I have hundreds in front of me at the time, but you did have a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah, let me first clarify for the board. First of all, the citation states right on it, if you want to have a hearing on the citation, the issuance of citation, you have to request in writing with the clerk a hearing within 10 days from the date of the citation, not including weekends and holidays. Now, as far as her being able to come in today, when a hearing is not required, and it's not something that can be waived by the board. Either it's asked for in 10 days or it's not. If not, the violation is deemed admitted. There is a violation. Now, that does not mean a violator can't come in at any other hearing. That's why Sherry sends a notice of hearing on every one of these hearings. They have the right to come in and be heard on. It sounds like she's concerned with the amount of the fine or to pay any fine, and that's fine for her to address the board about that issue. The one thing that has been already established by default is that there was a violation.
But I don't think she's arguing that.
But she does have every right to come in and be heard at any one of these hearings that get scheduled.
I have several questions. I'm sorry.
Mr. Price had.
I'm sorry.
He was first.
Yeah, sorry. How long have you owned properties? How long have you owned properties in Vero Beach?
Since 1980.
Okay. And then who cut the tree down? Did you pay a company to do it, or did you guys do it?
My guys did it.
Okay. And what was the cost of the new tree?
First one I purchased.
Sir, you need to come up to the microphone. I'm sorry. That's why I stopped you before. You need to get on the record there and just state your name first.
John Pickerel. The first tree that I purchased was from Home Depot, and I think it was less than $100. I purchased that before I knew that I even had to replace the tree. And then as I communicated further with the people in the office, and got the paperwork, saw that it had to be a certain size or whatever. After I called them and asked them if it would be all right, the one that I'd already planted, and they said no. I had to hire a company that had that size tree, and I haven't got the bill for it yet, so I don't know what it's going to cost me. But I would like some things clarified. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand, and I can tend to get upset about some of these things. If I get a tenant calling me telling me there's a hazard, and I go out to take care of it, to have this progress the way it did, and I called, and the first people I talked to were very unhelpful, and very unhelpful. Sherry was very pleasant. I went in, she calmed me down, and I turned it over to my daughter at that point. But I don't understand the violation. Again, can somebody clarify to me what my violation is for what I've done?
You cut down a tree without having a permit.
Okay, what tree's cut down? The tree.
Okay.
There's 17 foot of tree there. It's not. The tree is not cut down.
That's good argument.
Okay, I had a tree business for probably about 2 years, licensed by the city. I was trained by a certified arborist. I didn't go to school for it, but I learned a lot in those 2 years. Yeah, I know how to properly trim an oak tree. I cut what was cut out of that tree. I cut it the first times that it was cut. When my tenant called me and told me that there was a hazard out there, it was dropping limbs in the yard. She was concerned for her kids. I'll show you the pictures of the limbs that are going across their cars that she was concerned about when I dropped those limbs. But it's like I said, I get upset about it. I'm sorry. That's why I let my daughter handle these kind of things, because she's got a different personality. She can come in when something like this that doesn't make sense to me and deal with it, and it's aggravating to me. But excuse me. So anyway, she contacted me, and then after all this happened, I asked her to write a letter of what, the times that she'd called me and asked me about it, and the time, every time she called, I went out, I just cut out what I had to cut out that was dead, but it continued to happen. And those limbs that were going over the cars, what if I don't get there? I'll show you. There's rot on the top. If anybody on the board knows anything about trees, the life is in the bark, and you look at the pictures, the first pictures that the city took. I just don't understand how something like this could happen. If the picture taker, if they just walked up and talked to me, they're out there taking a picture, come up and talk to me. I'll explain to them. I'll tell them what happened with the tenant, why I was doing it. She's got pictures of the property because we bought the property.
Could we see the picture?
Sure.
Why don't we let her continue with this slideshow, and maybe we can commiserate a little better.
Among other things, I'm a general contractor. I prefer contracting, but the economy got bad, and I wasn't like a lot of people. I had some money saved up, and I bought properties and repaired them, which you'll see from these pictures, and rent them at a fair price. My dad had tried to get me to do that anyway. I don't know if you want to hear all that stuff, but that's, I was hesitant because I'd had some rental properties early on in my 20s and didn't know how to what people to rent to, and quit that when it didn't work out.
Where are the pictures showing the tree in question?
That is that tree that you're looking at right there is a picture of the healthy tree before it looked better.
That is not the healthy tree?
That is the tree. It looks much healthier right there. And if you look at the pictures of it today, and that I had already trimmed it.
When was that picture taken, sir?
That's probably
approximately.
Probably later than that one. At least.
What was the approximate size, the diameter of the branches that were falling off this that were of concern to your tenants?
The branches, when I got out in the yard, they had moved some away. The biggest branches were probably that big. But, when you...
And this is not...
Could you explain what that picture depicts?
It's kind of confusing looking at that. That's the end of the log there. See if you got a different one that's a little clearer than that. It's just a piece of wood that came off the tree that's completely rotted. Show some other ones.
I'm a little confused. Your daughter said that the tree was dead, and you're saying that it's not cut down. So,
an oak tree that's that size, if that tree was alive and I don't do anything with it, it'll start sending shoots out of it. And trust me, I'm not going to do anything with it for a while. This can be settled whether it's alive or not. I've got some pictures on my phone that I took my guys. I'd asked them to do some work on one of my other properties, and they went out and misunderstood me, and they took a tree and cut it off this high off the ground, and the oak tree, I can show you the pictures of. I got them on my phone.
I've seen that myself.
It comes right back. This tree is dead. Look at that side of the tree there. I mean, you don't even have to be somebody like myself trained.
So what does constitute cutting down a tree?
I can read you the definition of removal from the code. And the allegation is the removal of the tree without a permit. Removal means the act of removing or causing removal of a tree or palm from the ground in which it grew or was planted, or effectively causing its removal or destruction by damaging the trunk, tipping, or other harmful or excessive pruning, damaging or removing major limbs, roots, or canopy volume, changing the natural grade above the root system or around the trunk, damaging the tree or palm such that it permits infection or pest infestation, applying any chemical or substance to or near the tree or palm, paving with concrete, asphalt, or other pervious material adjacent to or near the tree or palm, or any other action that causes the tree or palm to be dead or beyond recovery, whether or not the tree or palm is physically removed.
Excessive pruning or trimming, we also refer to, and it's in the code, as hat racking, which will ultimately kill a tree. There will be shoots that come back, but ultimately it will kill a tree.
Would you call that hat racking?
Correct.
Hat racking.
Correct.
It certainly looks like a hat rack.
Well, judging by the pictures, it looks like the tree was.
I have a couple of questions
dead
for
anyway,
you.
But,
Sir. Young lady, you had said that you were part of the company. You worked in the company office.
Yes, sir.
How many people on the staff there?
Myself, my brother, my father, and another employee.
Okay, so 3, right?
4. Well,
Four.
yeah.
Okay, the reason I'm bringing that up, when unfortunately you had to go into Mayo, wasn't there anybody else that could have taken the slack up and followed through on this much earlier?
I was trying to work on it. When I got the letter, I was upset. I immediately called the city and went in and spoke with one of the people in the office that I said was not very helpful, and I, was pretty upset about it. The next time I talked to Sherry. She was very helpful, very pleasant, and I thought it was getting resolved, and that's another reason why we didn't do the thing. I was like, okay, I said, what do you got to do? You got to pay this, to get the permit and pay a double fee because you didn't have the permit before. That's another thing. How do you know? I mean, I had a tree business.
You submitted a tree removal application after the fact, which you signed, or which was signed, stating that there was this 24-inch DBH tree that was dead or dying on property.
Yes.
So I guess I'm confused. Now your contest is that you cut it back, but it will come back. But when you filled out the application, it was dead or dying.
I said if the tree is alive, it will come back.
Right.
That tree is dead.
Okay.
I'm not trying to argue that tree's alive.
Okay. That's where I was confused.
I have a tree business. Why wouldn't I want an oak tree in my front yard? And if the tree wasn't dead, why would I cut it like that?
I agree.
Mr. Pickerel,
Yes, sir.
Your tree business was here in Vero Beach?
Yes, sir.
And in the time that you had the tree business, you never had the occasion to take down a tree or severely trim it?
Yes.
Did you apply for a permit for that?
No. When you say take down a tree, before I had the tree business with lot clearing or whatever, I understand that. We never took any trees out except that were dead trees that I remember, and there weren't that many, but I don't ever remember getting a permit to take down.
And you've had properties in Vero for over 30 years, you said, and you've never had the occasion to have a tree removed?
Not a live tree.
You've had trees removed, though. I think the point the gentleman is trying to make is you have in the past cut down some trees, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
The code doesn't exclude whether they're dead or not, does it?
It does not. A permit is required regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
We did not cut down any oaks or palm trees.
Not
when
the point.
He's saying that we did it, it was the
there's a
invasive
difference between
species,
No, I understand.
like pepper trees and stuff like that. When we bought properties in 2006 is when we got more of the rental properties. Most of the properties, or all of the properties, were in foreclosure or short sale. I sold a piece of commercial property and did a 1031 exchange and purchased these others to keep my employees busy. Because we were doing framing, and the construction market just dropped out. So this is just something that we did to continue to be able to work. But we have not taken down an oak tree of this size or palms.
So you have at least $200 into this now.
I've got way more than $200.
I mean, just in replacement.
Yes. I'm still a little confused. Maybe somebody could still clear up. Is there a big argument? I mean, when I called back in, the people that I said weren't very helpful. They told me when I said, well, the tree was dead, it was a hazard to my tenant, I was cutting it down, and they said, no, that tree wasn't dead. We checked Google Earth and it's alive or whatever, and if we can settle, I mean, if the pictures aren't enough, I mean, what do I need to do? Does anybody have any knowledge of trees? Can I help you figure out that tree was dead?
You see, the issue, we're accepting the fact that the tree was dead. That's not really the issue. The issue is the $250 permit fee. That's all we're talking about here today.
The fee for the permit is $250?
Yep.
No, you mean the civil penalty?
I'm sorry, civil penalty.
See, the unfortunate part is it doesn't matter if the tree is alive or dead. You have to have a permit in Vero to take down an oak tree. That's the point.
Okay.
And
So if I'm going to be fined $250, why did I have to go pay the permit? So you got to pay the
Because the code
fee,
sets the
you pay-
penalty.
because that's the law. That's how it's
Because the removal of the tree has to be remediated, and if you don't remediate it, it becomes $250 a day until you do remediate it.
They take trees very seriously.
Well, I take trees very seriously, too.
If I may offer a suggestion to the board.
Please.
The man obviously got well over $200. I'm not sure what this second tree is going to cost. If you went through an arborist, I'd like to open it up to a discussion to say perhaps we could negotiate some type of a reduction to accommodate that.
I would be amenable to some talking about a reduction. I don't know how much at this point. I'd like to hear from other board members.
Well, I'd like to ask him what he's going to do next time he has to cut down an oak tree. Are we clear?
Yeah, we're clear. And I don't understand again how long has that ordinance been in effect that you have to have a permit to cut down a dead tree?
George Washington printed that ordinance up many years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's been a while,
Yeah. I mean, we've had a tree ordinance for a long, long time.
I'm not talking about a tree ordinance. I know you have a tree ordinance. I'm talking about getting a permit to cut down a dead tree.
Same ordinance.
The current version of the code is of the tree ordinance is 2010. It looks like, and I'm just not seeing dead trees as an exception. See, when it talks about a permit's required for any specimen tree, protected tree or palm, or any tree or palm required by an approved site plan. And there are exceptions, but I'm not seeing a dead tree as an exception.
Well,
isn't the purpose of the permit to give the city an opportunity to determine whether the tree is actually dying or not?
And you did not bring in a tree expert to give this a DOA approval, am I correct?
I can do that if I'm not acceptable, having owned a tree business and been...
I mean, in the past, you didn't do that before you did any trimming or cutting, am I correct? A tree expert.
I don't see that as being relevant because we already determined dead tree, live tree, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So we don't need to put him through that as well.
Okay. Listen, I can hear and see both sides of this thing. I do feel, however, there should be something imposed monetarily.
So where do we stand now? It's $250.
Right.
It's $250. I waived all my costs because it was double permitting, mitigation, and the penalty, the civil penalty. So I felt like having my costs on there was just piling on.
He's probably already got that much into it.
I think so.
Between permit fees and new trees and.
How much have you spent on the two trees, sir?
I don't know about the second tree. I had to hire there's no trees that I could find, no trees that size that they were calling for locally, so I had to...
Was it more than 100? Less than 100?
Yes, I'm sure it's going to be more than 100.
He hasn't received the bill on that tree yet, he had said.
Okay. Well, basically, I feel that the law was broken, and you should pay something. I think it should be less than $250, and I think I'd like to hear from other board members. I have a number in my head, but
I'll make a suggestion.
I make a suggestion that it be $50 fine.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That was my number, too.
I agree.
I mean, there are mitigating circumstances here. There was a health issue. There was a communication.
I agree.
And they know what to do now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the point.
And we will do it. I don't
Oh, we have no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Why don't you make the motion? You make the. All right. I'll make. We just want to reduce
To be a reduction of the civil penalty to $50.
Yeah, I'll make a motion then that we reduce the civil penalty from $250 to $50.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you for your time today, and thank you for hearing us.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.
You too.
Those pictures that you showed on the dot cam, I'll need to keep those for the record.
Yeah, those
The
are
pictures that you showed, yes.
Yeah.
That was it. Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn?
We don't have to do that. Okay. We'll just,
Done.
We're done.
Done.